Good evening and welcome to Newsline. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. Tonight we begin on a very, very solemn note as the nation mourns the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari, a man whose presence shaped the course of Nigerian's modern history. His leadership, convictions and controversies will no doubt echo through generations. Now, the former president was to many Nigerians a man of many sides, and I recall having the rare privilege of a handshake with him in Daura. That was a moment that unexpectedly changed my perception. Now, his impact on governance, security and national discourse will remain a subject of conversation for many, many years to come. So tonight, Newsline will take a slightly different tune in honor of this patriot. Now, we will be devoting more time tonight to sharing what he meant to different people from different walks of life. So we will be joining live some dignitaries who, of course, have had close encounter with him, those people who have worked closely in private or public life, to share with us those things about the former president that are rarely made public. And of course, with the loss of life, even in the shadow of, passing, life continues. And so will tonight the storytelling on Newsline continue with our culture, our resilience, and our humanity. I'll blink an eye and be right back after all the news and condolences with Mina Daniels.
Thank you, Claire. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the passing of his predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari. President Buhari died today in London at about 4:30 p.m. following a prolonged illness. President Tinubu has spoken with Mrs. Aisha Buhari, the former president's widow, and offers his condolences. President Tinubu has also directed Vice President Kashim Shettima and his Chief of Staff, Femi Adesina, to proceed to the United Kingdom to accompany President Muhammadu Buhari's body back to Nigeria. Former President Buhari was twice elected Nigeria's president in 2015 and 2019. He also served as military head of state between January 1984 to August 1985. In the meantime, President Tinubu has ordered flags to fly at half-mast as a mark of respect for the departed former president. And now, former spokesperson Femi Adesina, it's online. Hello, Femi. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you very much. How did you receive the news of the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, we, his aides, usually talk to some of our colleagues who are with him in London. So it was them that confirmed to us in the afternoon that he had passed on. And it was, if a man is 82 going to 83 and is ill, he can either recover or not recover. But it was still a shock to us that he didn't recover. Because he had been in ICU at a point, that we would say was the dangerous part of it. But he got out of ICU and was in the ward being cared for. So now hear that he passed on could only be shocked.
What exactly would you remember him for?
Yeah, a lot. I worked with him for 8 years. And before then, I had been friends with him for about 3 years. Albeit a senior friend. He was my senior friend. We were always in touch. So I knew him for his integrity. I knew him for his forthrightness. I knew him for his discipline. So I'll miss all these things. And Those are things he bequeathed to Nigeria and to Nigeria.
Well, he was known for his discipline and integrity. What would you say more about these qualities?
Yes, integrity meant that you could trust him, particularly with the resources of the country. And President Buhari never joked with the resources of the country. He felt it was a trust given to you, and you should never abuse that trust. That is why today, tomorrow, anytime, you can't trace anything that has the slightest affinity to corruption to President Buhari. You can't.
What was his driving force? Would you share with us?
Yes, his driving force was his faith in God. He will always say, if I abuse trust, Allah will ask me. A lot of people used to say he was nepotic. One day I asked him, you have removed a person from South from this position. Now you have appointed somebody from Northwest to replace him. Why don't you find a South person to replace the person you removed? He now told me that when people are going to be appointed, there is a search, and the search will throw out the 3 best people. Now, if you bypass the number 1 person because of his religion, because of his race, because of his ethnicity, he said Allah will ask him in the final day. So he believed so much in God, and he did everything with the fear of God.
Well, you are one of the closest person to him, Femi, so it will be so difficult not to ask the lessons to learn from his lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, a lot of lessons. One is simplicity. He was a very simple man. And simplicity meant he didn't carry power on his head. He held power loosely. He held power lightly. And the lesson from that is, there is nothing you have that will not leave one day. There is nothing you are holding that will not fall from your hand one day. So that's a lesson to learn. For those who hold power with simplicity. Hold power lightly. Don't be uptight about power, because if you don't leave power, power will leave you. So that's a vital lesson to learn from this life.
What will Nigerians miss about the man, Buhari?
Forthrightness. President Buhari never spoke tongue-in-cheek. He meant whatever he said. There is nothing President Buhari will say that will come and contradict later. No. He will speak his mind, and he will stand by whatever he has said. Straight as an arrow.
Thank you, Femi, so much for your inputs. Thank you so much. And please do take heart.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
And here is a report on the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who made tremendous strides in different sectors of the Nigerian economy while serving as Nigerian leader at different times. Elizabeth Omori tells us more.
Muhammadu Buhari, born December 17, 1942 in Daura, Kaduna State. He was a retired military general and two-time leader of Nigeria. First as a military head of state, 1983 to 1985, and later a democratically elected president, 2015 to 2023. He began his early education in a Quranic school before proceeding to Katsina Middle School, and later joined the Nigerian Military Training College in 1962 at the age of 19. Buhari received further military trainings in the UK and United States, rising through the ranks to become a second lieutenant, platoon commander, and later Federal Commissioner for Petroleum under the Obasanjo military regime. He also served as the inaugural chairman of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and later the chairman of the Petroleum Trust Fund under General Abacha. In 1983, Buhari seized power in a military coup, citing corruption and economic mismanagement.
This country was drifting towards a dangerous state of political and economic collapse through the continued ineptitude and insensitiveness of a political leadership who were apparently unwilling to change. It had a duty to intervene to clean up the economic mess and set this country once again on the path of sanity.
His short but impactful regime focused on discipline, anti-corruption and economic austerity, including the launch of the famous War Against Indiscipline. However, his government faced criticism for its approach and was overthrown in 1985 by General Ibrahim Babangida. After years away from public office, Buhari re-entered politics, contesting the presidency in 2003, 2007 and 2011, before finally winning in 2015 under the All Progressives Congress (APC). He was re-elected in 2019, serving 2 terms alongside Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo.
Muhammadu Buhari.
As president, Buhari prioritized anti-corruption, infrastructure development, agricultural revival, and economic reform. While he made notable strides in public works and social investment programs, his administration also faced challenges, particularly in security, inflation, and unemployment.
Our country has everything we require to make Nigeria prosper. But to ensure that Nigeria works for Nigerians of all persuasions, we can do it.
Buhari left office in 2023, becoming the second Nigerian leader to rule both as a military and civilian president. His legacy remains a subject of national debate, marked by integrity, discipline, and reform.
So that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me.
In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
We are now joined by Garba Shehu, who was a senior special assistant, media and publicity to the late president. Thank you for joining us on Newsline tonight. How did you receive the news of the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari?
I was deeply shocked because we were expecting that he was going to come back to us in good health, that the worst was behind him. The story of the intensive care unit, and in the last 4 days, the information we were receiving was that he was making recovery. We had a book launch 3 days ago. Until 2 days to that event, we were being assured that he could possibly make it. So for you to wake up, well, this afternoon, and to be told that he had passed on, yes, it is very difficult to reconcile with. But this is God's making. We cannot challenge it. We accept.
All right, that's bad. Who was the man, Muhammadu Buhari, to you?
He was a statesman. He was a great statesman and with great vision. He loved Nigeria more than he loved himself. He worked tirelessly for the growth and development of Nigeria. Buhari, we all as a country will be less, much less, without Muhammadu Buhari today.
What will Nigerians miss the most about him?
His statesmanship and personal integrity. And as Femi said a short while ago, that Spartan lifestyle, that simplicity with which he took life. Look at the way he dressed. and what he ate. And the fact that he possessed no tendency at all towards or for materialistic things. They don't enchant him. He never loved cars or homes or women. He had always seen this life as transitory. And he had enormous patience. He had enormous patience. He could take so much that most people will not accept.
Garba, how would Nigerian politics look like without Buhari?
Well, it is going to be very challenging, especially for those who had him in partnership to achieve political power. Because, as was said recently, which generated some controversy by the former secretary to the government, in 2003, he garnered 12.7 million votes. In 2017, we believed that the election was massively rigged. He came out with 6.6. And in the next election, he had 12.7. He never had the national spread. The votes were mostly northern. And his partnership with the Ashwaju Bola Tinubu and all of those elements from the south ensured that he could now achieve that constitutional requirement of 25% spread. If you ask me, who is there today in the north that will fetch 12 million votes with this consistency? It's going to be very challenging. I'm not saying it is impossible.
You have been an ally of Buhari for a long period of time. What impact will his demise have on you?
At a personal level, his insight and leadership had great impact on my person. Interactions with him, in all of the years that I had been with him, were always enriching. And I'm going to miss that, as would many other people.
Thank you so much, Garba Shehu. You were the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to our late President. Thank you so much for your time. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu mourns the passing of a former president, Muhammadu Buhari. He describes him as a patriot, a gallant soldier, and a statesman to the core, saying his legacy and sacrifice endures. The president notes his unwavering dedication as a military leader from January 1984 to August 1985, and later as a democratically elected president from 2015 to 2023. The president also eulogized his dedication to duty and deep commitment to the unity and progress of the nation. He says late Muhammadu Buhari stood firm all through his turbulent times, as well as his unshakable belief in Nigeria's potential by championing discipline in public service and tackling corruption head-on. At this moment of national mourning, President Tinubu extends his deepest condolences to Buhari's beloved wife Aisha, his children, the entire Buhari family, and all who knew and loved him. President Tinubu also extends his condolences to the government and people of Kaduna State, most especially the people and traditional leaders of Daura Emirate, and prays for the peaceful repose of his soul. As a mark of respect for the former leader, President Tinubu directs that all national flags should fly at half-mast across the country for 7 days from today. Similarly, President Tinubu has summoned an emergency Federal Executive Council session on Tuesday dedicated to honor late Major General Muhammadu Buhari. Let's now join Farouk Adamu and do say good evening and thanks for joining us. Buhari also for a long time. What does his death mean to you? Hello.
Unfortunately, I cannot hear you very well, but yes, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was actually asking what his death meant to you. Yes.
Okay. Now, from Allah we come, and from Him we shall return. All souls must test death. And the death of our leader, our mentor, came to us with the greatest shock. And we hope and pray, may Allah accept him, accept all his good deeds. May Allah forgive him for his mistakes, and we will deeply miss him.
Well, let's hear from you what you think Nigerian politics will look like without the man, Buhari.
Well, Nigerian politics is going to miss doggedness, is going to miss consistency, because if I can remember, in 2003, when we started, we traversed the whole part of this country by road. Muhammadu Buhari was in the car all over the country. In 2007, the same. In 2011, the same. We went to each and every state of this country with him. He never gets tired. At convention stages, he never sleeps. Nobody can catch him sleeping or napping. You know, so Nigeria is certainly going to miss a consistent politician, a consistent statesman, honest, transparent, people-loving, somebody that loves his country, you know, beyond everything. We're going to miss him greatly.
You have also been an ally of Buhari for a long period of time. What impact will his demise have on you?
Well, to be honest, to also be consistent, to whenever your word should mean your bond. And he has taught in us patience, perseverance, that whenever you lose a match, don't just go to bed. Keep trying until you get it. So part of the things we learned from him, and we are going to cherish that, is consistency, patience, doggedness, and being truthful to your God and to your people. Be honest.
Before I let you go, what next for you people who believe in his ideology? How do you plan to uphold his legacies?
Well, by, first of all, praying for him, praying for the country, also being consistent with his policies, make sure we follow his heart, and his heart is with the party in power. So that's what we're going to do. May Allah forgive him.
Thank you so much. We'll now take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Industry, Trade and Investment presents the 2025 Domestic Investors Summit. Theme: Operationalizing Nigeria First Policy. Date: Tuesday, 15th July 2025. Anchored in President Tinubu's 8-point renewed hope agenda, this summit reinforces the role of local capital, enterprise, and innovation in building a more resilient, inclusive, and globally competitive Nigerian economy. Core objectives: to provide clarity on recent fiscal, monetary, and trade reforms shaping Nigeria's investment climate and the Africa regional approach to winning. Share pathways to domestic and regional market growth for Nigerian businesses. Deepen public-private collaboration on investment incentives and regulatory co-creation. This one-day summit offers participants direct access to decision makers, on-site regulatory support, strategic networking. Signed, Ambassador Noura Abbarini, Permanent Secretary.
The rains are here again. Seasonal climate forecasts have revealed the possibility of flooding in several communities across the country. Therefore, clear away solid wastes that block drainages and waterways to mitigate the risk of flooding in your area. Do not build on waterway. Pay attention to torrential rainfall and warnings over rising dam water levels. Evacuate from flood-prone areas to safe higher grounds. Do not walk through flood water. Report any flood incidents to your State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA. Listen to weather forecasts and comply with safety instructions. For further information, visit www.nema.gov.ng. Disaster management is everybody's business. This message is brought to you by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. NEMA, for the sake of the distressed.
Back in 63, we landed Nigeria with nourishment, staying there. Every day. Now the nourishment is back again, cleared the way. So our tasty, creamy, nourishing yogurt.
Hola la familia. I enjoy the new tasty, creamy and nourishing Fan Yogo drinking yogurt. Contains vitamins D, E, B1, B12 and zinc. Go for delicious plain or strawberry Fan Yogo. Fan Yogo, original Niger yogurt.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Coleman!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
Trust Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion to reveal your skin's natural radiance. The same unique formula enriched with berry extracts, even tone complex, and UV filters to reduce dark spots and even out your skin tone. For radiant and even tone skin, say hello again to Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion. Try the full Nivea Perfect and Radiant range to unlock your most radiant self.
What would you need?
Guys, food is ready.
To impress.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Thanks for joining us again. We'll now be joining Omar Ajinge live in Kaduna. Hello, Omar. What is the mood in Kaduna right now? You know that Kaduna was like a home for the late president. Well, before we join Omar, let's head to Katsina State, where the state government and eminent personalities, including close associates of former President Muhammadu Buhari, received the news of his death with shock, describing it as a great loss, not only to the Katsina State, but Nigeria as a whole. Suleiman Kudugi reports that the state capital has been thrown into mourning.
It was a sad moment for the government and people of Katsina State, including the close associate of the former president, late Muhammadu Buhari, over the news of his passing. Former president, late Muhammadu Buhari, died this Sunday in London after a prolonged illness. For the Katsina State government and close associate of the late Muhammadu Buhari, he lived a life worthy of emulation, especially by Nigerian politicians.
He's someone who has served this country at various capacity, and he lived above board. He had the opportunity, and he used the opportunity to do what is right, and he contributed immensely to the development and growth of this country.
Buhari is honest,
Buhari is dedicated, and we enjoyed his life. We were in school. He was our head boy, and then thereafter he joined the army.
Buhari, I think, was one of the honest people in the world.
They prayed Almighty Allah to forgive his shortcomings. In Katsina, Suleiman Kodogi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, condolences have been poured in over the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Mamso Demandati has a compilation.
Arau, in a statement, says the late former president was an untiring promoter of peace and unity in the country. He prayed Almighty Allah to forgive his shortcomings and grant him the highest place in Jannah. Similarly, the Speaker of House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has expressed shock over the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari, describing him as one of the most patriotic Nigerians who serves the nation diligently. Speaker Abbas notes that Buhari carved a niche for himself as an incorruptible leader and a man of integrity, with an unflinching commitment to nation building. The Speaker commiserates with the Buhari family, Daura Emirate, people of Katsina State, as well as Nigeria at large. The Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, has also expressed sadness over the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari in London this Sunday afternoon. A statement by the chairman of the NGF, Kwara State Governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, says Muhammadu Buhari was not just a former president or military leader, but a national political leader with profound moral courage, character, and amazing sense of duty. The forum says Buhari would be remembered for his humility, strategic patience, and modest lifestyle. It condoles with President Bola Tinubu on the painful loss of a friend and ally. The NGF pray Allah to grant him Al-Jannatul Firdaus. In a related message, the Progressive Governors Forum expresses deep sorrow over the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari and commiserated with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians, and the immediate family of the late president. In a condolence message signed by the chairman of the forum and governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, the governors described Buhari's demise as a monumental loss, not just to his immediate family, but to the nation at large. Meanwhile, the government and people of Kogi State received with deep sorrow the news of the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari. A statement by Governor Ahmed Ododo describes the incident as a moment of national grief and a reminder of the enduring legacy of discipline, integrity, and sacrifice that former President Muhammadu Buhari stood for. Kogi State, he says, will remember him for his commitment to critical infrastructure, national security, and his consistent stand against corruption. From Niger State also comes a statement by Governor Umaru Bago mourning the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The former governor describes the former president as an elder statesman who has etched his name in the annals of Nigeria's history as a very disciplined personality who lived a life of sacrifice to humanity and dedication to nation building. The opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, has also expressed condolences to the family of the former President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians at large, describing him as a towering figure who exemplified humility, integrity, and zero tolerance for corruption. A statement by its interim National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, notes that President Buhari will be remembered for his indelible imprints on Nigeria's political history as an elder statesman and great patriot. In another development, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, expresses shock over the news of the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari, describing it as the end of a remarkable chapter in Nigeria's national history. The monarch in the statement says kings and leaders of great legacy are not mourned, yet they are celebrated for their footprints in the sands of time remain long after they have transitioned to the ancestral realm. The Oba extols the late president as a resilient leader, a disciplined soldier, and an unrepentant patriot whose life symbolized selfless service, firm belief in the unity of Nigeria, and a lifelong commitment to national development. The Buhari Media Organization says it has received the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari with shock, but in total submission to the will of Allah. A statement by the organization say the memory of former President Buhari will remain indelible in the minds of millions of Nigerians and others across the world who had the privilege of encountering him. He was described as a true patriot who believed in Nigeria and served the nation with dedication as a military officer, state governor, federal minister, military head of state, two-term civilian president, ordinary citizen, and an elder statesman. The BMO praised that Allah grants him eternal rest and consoles his family, the Daura Emirate, Katsina state government, his associates, and the entire nation. Momsa Damian Dati, NTA News.
Our time now to join Omar Ojingi live in Kaduna State. Hello, Omar. What is the mood right there in Kaduna State?
Hello, it is indeed a very sad day here in Kaduna State. The atmosphere has been that of mourning and reflection of his legacies. Every corner you go here in the state, the news is that, the former President Muhammadu Buhari is no more, and such is life. Praying for Allah to grant him eternal rest. I'm here at one of the road named after him, Muhammadu Buhari Way, just few meters to his residence, because Kaduna has been his second home apart from Daura in Katsina State. Even when he handed over to the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he only had little stay in Daura before coming back here to stay in Kaduna. And since then, his home has been open for a number of people, stakeholders, politicians, have been visiting him to seek for his advice, to interact with him. I personally remember some few months ago where the Progressive Governors Forum visited him to seek for his advice. I have made an attempt to interview some of his very few close associates, but they could not talk to me on camera because they are in deep shock and pain of the demise of a man they describe as a true elder statesman, a true Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian, a true leader who has the passion of seeing the progress of this country. The only solemn they have is that he has served this country in different capacities, and he has made impact. He has made his own contributions. Earlier, during the Maghrib prayer and Isha prayer, the residents of Kaduna State and indeed a number of people have made use of the opportunity to pray for him, to pray for Allah to grant him eternal rest. When I was at his residence just a few moments ago, a few people were coming in making some inquiries that when will the remains of former late President Muhammadu Buhari be brought to Nigeria, and where exactly will the funeral prayer take place? Is it here in Kaduna or Daura? People are still making these inquiries. He is indeed a leader. The people of Kaduna State and of course Nigeria will never forget. He is a leader that is still respected even at death. Most of them told me that he is one of the most loved politicians Nigeria had ever had. He served this country 2 times as a civilian president, and one with a passion, with a dream to take Nigeria to the promised land. It is still from here in Kaduna State that he has left to London for a medical check, a trip that he will never come back. They pray for Almighty Allah to give the family the fortitude to bear the loss, and of course to grant him eternal rest. The mood is a very, very sad mood indeed here in Kaduna State. Every person I attempt to interview, they could not grant me interview. I attempted to interview even some few people on the street, but they are in tears. They prayed for Allah to grant him eternal rest. That is the mood here in Kaduna.
Omar Ojingi, thank you so much for that update. Thank you. Meanwhile, Daura, the hometown of former President Muhammadu Buhari, is in mourning mood since the news of his demise came in. NTA News correspondent Mubarak Mohammed reports that the shock and sadness of the incident is being discussed in groups by residents. He also reports that Daura community is already making preparations to receive the body of their illustrious son for burial in accordance with Islamic rites. Special prayers have been held in mosques in the ancient city this evening, and more of such are being organized. Sports is next.
All right, let's begin with volleyball, as over 22 female volleyball players have arrived camp ahead of Nigeria Customs Service Volleyball Club tournament in Abuja. Sports Secretary of the Nigeria Customs Service, Samuel Odekeko, while giving the update, noted that preparations are in top gear, just as he revealed that the ongoing screening exercise for the men and women volleyball teams is aimed at rebuilding the teams by injecting young players.
I've been to about 4 of their training sessions, and I'm telling you that I'm very impressed with the talent, with what I've seen. I've seen people that will be able to fit into our team with a little bit of motivation and more training. I believe that they will perform better. I'm very, very impressed with what I've seen with it.
On to basketball now, as Nigeria's under-19 women's basketball team, Junior Tigress, suffered a tough loss to Canada, falling 113-42 in their second group game at the 2025 FIBA Under-19 Women's Basketball World Cup. The result was a sharp contrast to Nigeria's performance in their opening game against China, where they recorded a stunning 93-88 win. With one win and one loss, the J Tigress, who will now face Portugal in their last game on Tuesday, still have a fighting chance of advancing, depending on how other results go. And to football now, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria are currently taking on their Algerian counterparts in their final group game of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations going on in Morocco. Despite starting the game as the better side, the Falcons have failed to make most of their chances count. A draw will be enough for the 9-time champions to advance as group winners. And straight to the United States of America, where European champions Paris Saint-Germain and Conference League holders Chelsea are currently facing off in the final of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Chelsea started the game on a bright note, were 2-0 up as early as the 30th minute, courtesy of a Cole Palmer brace. New signing Joao Pedro added a third in the 43rd minute from a Cole Palmer assist. And finally to tennis, as Yannick Sinner defeated two-time Wimbledon champion Carlos Alcaraz 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 on Sunday to win his first Wimbledon championship and reverse the result of their epic French Open final 5 weeks ago. The #1 ranked Sinner earned his 4th Grand Slam title overall, moving him one away from #2 Alcaraz, with the 23-year-old now holding 3 of the 4 Grand Slam titles, and will head to Roland Garros next year, chasing the career Grand Slam. It is also Sinner's first major title away from his favored hard courts, while Alcaraz suffered a first major final defeat. And that does it on sports. It's back to me now.
Many thanks, Bade. And that concludes the news segment. Newsline proper continues with Claire after the break.